Good morning. Welcome to Subramani. Uh, One of the queries which came to me recently is a question on risk by a very young person, maybe about 33, 34 years of age. And he wanted to know how much risk he could take. So, risk, and it's got nothing to do with COVID, just generally he was asking me about risk. So, I said risk is about amount of risk tolerance you have, risk taking capacity you have, and your whole attitude towards risk, that is far more important. So now suppose you're young, you're say 32, 33, you've got almost another 30 years to go for retirement, which means you don't really have to look at your retirement portfolio and worry about it today you should be one of the best persons to take advantage of the volatility and make sure that you invest more in equities, even maybe mid cap and small cap equities, which may take longer time to recover, simply because you have 30 years in which everything will recover, right? So, risk tolerance is about how you feel when the market fluctuates. Risk capacity is knowing really that today push comes to shove and you need money. Will you be selling off from these riskier assets, or have you created enough insurance buffer in your total overall portfolio in terms of spare cash, not needing to touch your portfolio for another 2 3 years. Hopefully, by then we would have recovered from this coronavirus. So, if you have done all that, obviously you've prepared better for risk. But things can go dramatically wrong. For example, a lot of people are dependent on their employer for medical insurance. If you lose your job, not only do you lose your cash flow, but you also lose your medical insurance. So I am urging all of you to go and recheck how much of medical insurance you have. Go and consult a good insurance salesman, or there is no insurance advisor available, and talk to him. See how much of medical cover insurance you need, assuming you don't have the job, right? Especially if you're 40 and you're just on the margin of developing some blood pressure and sugar problems. Fresh medical insurance will be very expensive to get, but you still need it, because if you lose your job, you lose your medical insurance, right? So, if your risk tolerance is low because you feel bad, you get up at 3 a.m. wondering what is happening to your portfolio, you will not take risk. You should not take risk because it's making a wreck out of you. Otherwise, the way to go forward is to learn how to handle the risk, increase the amount of money you have in debt and debt funds, and here again be careful. Lower quality debt funds act like small and mid cap. They might give you a better return, but they have the risk that they will not give you money the day you want it. That is what we call liquidity risk, right? We had seen some FMPs in the past with 20% in one scheme and five investments, and then when push comes to shove, they are forced to roll over their FMPs. You don't want to run such risks. So the money that is there should be available very easily for you, and you should be able to withdraw it, right? So that's important. So the question to ask is, does my current portfolio of debt mutual funds, equity mutual funds, direct mutual funds, direct equity and direct bonds that I have, is this appropriate for my age, right? Lot of 30-year-olds who have only about 20-30% of their money in equity need to revise, read, to relook and say, I am caught in this low interest scenario of 5.5-6% kind of yield. If I have to deliver a good return on my overall portfolio, which I have to, because I have to be getting a decent post-inflation, post-tax return on my portfolio, I need to up my equity, right? So, which means you have to understand how equity works, and you need to invest more time and effort in learning about that, right? So, if you have not got your asset allocation right, and also remember while doing your asset allocation, if you want to be more conservative, do an NPV of your future earnings, or what insurance we call human life value. Put that as your asset, and then see how is your asset allocation, right? One important thing is immaterial of what people tell you that you need 2 months income, 6 months income, 8 months income. My definition of emergency funds is you need as much emergency fund as it will make you comfortable. What I think, what I say is not important. You have to only answer this question. Do I have enough cash on hand or withdrawable within very quickly as soon as I need it, in in good amount and in good places? For example, the best places to keep it is of course some cash at home, 2 3 savings bank accounts, because each saving bank account has a limit as to how much you can withdraw in a day. So if you have 3 bank accounts, say yours, your HUF and your wife's 3 bank accounts, you have 50,000 into 3, right? At least you have 1.5 lakhs of literal cash available. You could have a 5 6 lakh limit or a 10 lakh limit available on a credit card. That is again cash available, especially for admitting somebody in an emergency in the hospital, because they ask for credit card. Rarely do they use a debit card. So anyway, you have to have a credit card. So you come to what? How much? 1.5 lakhs you have in 3 bank accounts. You have say 50,000 stacked away at home. So that makes it 2 lakhs. Beyond that, you should keep some money in mutual funds, which is liquid mutual fund. And beyond that, you could keep an ultra short bond fund. Never will you need so much of money. So if you have 1.5 lakhs lying in savings bank account, 3 separate accounts so that each can be withdrawn through the ATM card, I think you're done, right? So that once you have that, then start building your portfolio. This itself is huge. You may not need so much, so you see how much is appropriate for you. So this will which will help you see through emergency situations, right? So apart from checking all your portfolio and all that, do this check also. Once you are happy with the size, the correct size of your cash cushion, then you can take to see whether you are earning enough income from your assets, which means are they giving you adequate yield, right? Then ask whether you are taking too much risk with your equity holdings. Believe me, if the risk is not backed by reward, or you are just, oh, I put the money long ago, it is still there, fund manager is not bad, just look at your returns. Your returns may be bad. You may have to redo your thinking, rethink and say, oh, this fund manager used to be good, he is no longer good, right? You have to do those things. See whether you're taking too much risk in your equity holding. What is the risk in your equity holding? One, not earning well. Second, taking too much risk, right? So the fund manager is not only not earning well, but he's taking too much risk. If he's playing to his personal bias, right? Check for all that. This is a good time to check for all that. Then check whether your bond fund will deliver on time. If you have a credit risk fund, there's a chance that it may not deliver on time. So treat that portion as quasi equity, right, rather than as pure debt. Ideally, if you can come out of it, maybe that's good. But please remember, you could get the best yields when you take the highest risk. So that is also there. But I wouldn't recommend chasing yields in a market which has already corrected, right? So if market had not corrected, it would be different. But if the market has already corrected, difficult call for you to take. Are the costs running, eating into my returns is also something which you should consider, because if a fund manager, the big top fund with 20-year track record, is unable to deliver, there is something for you to worry about the industry and about the cost that they are charging. Something is going wrong. We do not know what is going wrong, but we know something is going wrong. Then better shift your funds, especially in the large cap category, to funds which are willing to track on the basis of, instead of on the basis of Sensex, on the basis of total return index, or best shift to the index, right? Some of the old houses with old schemes are not delivering, so you make your choice, you make your pick. One more thing you have to ask is, are you paying too much as income tax? And the answer for most people I meet is yes, because they kept their money in bank fixed deposit. In the bank fixed deposit, whatever interest you get is taxable on that particular day, or rather that for that particular year, right? So be careful about that. If you can shift a lot more money to debt funds instead of keeping in bank deposit and paying tax on it year on year, that could also be a good idea to think of. See whether your own behavioral is also hurting your investments, right? Your own investment behavior. Check against all the beliefs that you know and you have read about, and see whether any of those things are at play in your own portfolio. Only when you can see it in your own portfolio will you be able to see it in your client's portfolio, right? Then just check out with all the tools that are at your disposal today whether you will have enough money for your retirement. If the answer to it is no and you are young, there's a good chance that you will want to save more or invest more, and keep using a calculator to see whether how you will perform or you're likely to perform under stress. Thank you.